Yo guys, got another regional matchup for you guys. This is going to be Examon versus Machinedramon. Now this was a really fun match, albeit very long as you can probably imagine, so I decided to just cut it down to one game here. Our opponent is on Examon, going first. Really strong defensive decks on both sides, so let's see basically who can out each other's stacks. So we got Corjamon in the back. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Dorimon in the breathing area, and then Dorumon is pretty much the best level 3 you're going to want to see in the deck. And Analog Man is honestly not as bad of a start as I could have had. Like, it's a pretty solid start. You know, I sometimes maybe prefer a memory boost or something, or a Hagurumon, but Analog Man is going to give us that extra memory if we do got the Cyborg in hand. Then we're going to see Davis here, pretty much one of the best starters for our opponent as well. So both players opening up really strong. He's going to grab an Examon as well as another Drummon there, setting up for the DNA plays. Examon can be really scary when it gets going, so I am just going to go ahead and stay in the back, utilizing the analog to discard the Metal Tyranno to draw a card. Gargemon is going to go down. The blocker main effect is pretty nice, but you usually only use it for the inherited. And then Andromon in the back, not going to get that when digivolving, but I do immediately want to be able to promote and go into something like a Chaos or a Machine. So rather than play greedy and bring out our Andromon, because what our opponent could do, like starting at starting at 3 memory, if I brought the Andromon out, is evolve level 5, hard play level 5, go into Examon, play a Slayer. I have 1 Digimon on field, he forces an attack, and then I lose my entire stack. So that's definitely not a position you want to see yourself in. You definitely want something to eat up the hit. If they don't have the Slayer, that's totally fine. That's the board I can mostly work my way through. But our opponent is going to go Wingdramon in the back here, putting me to 2 memory. Is enough. The fact that this deck doesn't really have any memory tamers doesn't bother me too much, because you are playing stuff like Analog as well as Black Memory Boost. So here I'm going to play Hagurumon to simultaneously fix my hand a little bit, and then also to be able to have a Digimon on field to be able to eat up a hit, because unless my opponent is on Samadhi Santi, they can really only, once they do their Examon play, they pretty much always pass turn. And then I will be able to eat up a hit with the Tankdramon. Now, the only way my opponent would be able to basically force out both the stacks here is if he promoted the Wingdramon, Digivolve Groundramon for 3, and then DNA'd without passing turn, maybe swung into security, suspended my tank, unsuspended, swung into the tank, and then I'd only have 1 Digimon, so that might be pretty important there. That might be very detrimental for me. And he is going to have the Groundramon here, so both level 5s in play with pretty much all the inheritors you want to see. We got double Dracomon as well, which is really scary. But instead of a DNA play, I'm not sure why my opponent didn't go into Examon here, because they do have the Examon. It's probable that they wanted to dig for the Slayer Dramon. So that's the only really thing I can think of, is if they didn't have the Slayer, then going to Examon here, while it does out the Tank Dramon, it keeps the Examon suspended on field, so then I would be able to bring out, go Chaos, devolve it, and perhaps swing over. So I think he did want to dig for the Slayer Dramon, so we are going to Corjamon, gain 2, draw 2, Examon, refresh all the inherited effects, to then be able to play Slayer Dramon from the hand by sticking Groundramon underneath. Since we played a Drummon, gain back 2 memory, putting me to 2 is a really solid play. Like, even though he hard played that Corjamon for 6, gaining back the 4 memory, setting up their best possible board, which is Examon with a Grounder underneath, Slayer Dramon on the field, to be able to suspend him to force an attack at the start of main phase, and then we got the blocker evades on Examon as well. So really difficult board to crack, but if I've learned one thing, is that devolve is one hell of a mechanic, guys. We are going to bring out the Andromon, and then Analog Man to go on up to 3 is pretty significant as well. And then so that's my start of main phase effect. Now it passes priority over to my opponent. He can use start of main phase effects if he would like. Checking the inheriteds on my stack here to see what I could possibly go through. So he's going to suspend the Slayer Dramon to force one of my Digimon to attack. So then now I will get to choose one of my Digimon to attack, and pretty much, of course, I'm going to choose the one I don't care about dying. So I'm going to go ahead and swing with the Tank Dramon, and then now, once that's resolved, the Slayer Dramon will unsuspend since it was suspended, and then Examon will have the ability to block, suspending itself, and then since it was suspended, it unsuspends and suspends my Andromon. Then the block goes through, deleting my Tankmon, and then Groundmon trashing a security card on my side. Really powerful stuff. we are going to go Chaosdramon here for a cost of 4, sticking now 3 Digimon from our hand and or trash underneath it. And by the way, I do want to mention that Chaosdramon is worded a little bit differently than I think EX1 Machinedramon, where I think it says hand or trash, but it really means hand and or trash. So you can stick from either or and any combination you like, just if that wasn't clear. So we are going to stick 3 things under, devolve him to the Dracmon, gaining a memory, drawing a card off our Doru inherited, as well as our Dory inherited, and then playing a Hagurumon just to cycle some more cards. And he's going to start at 3 anyways. So really, really strong play. And now I've got a body on field that is not easy for my opponent to out because of the fact that his deck basically just has Megadeth as a removal. I do have bounce protection, so if he Megadeths, it'll pass turn. Also, he doesn't have a green source on field, funny enough. He does have something like the Slayerdramon to be able to attack twice, but nothing that can immediately threaten my stack. Now that I devolved his Dracomon back down into a rookie, he's going to have to build up that stack again. Funny enough, keeping all of the inheriteds and double eggs underneath that stack is really weird. And then we've got the Cordramon on field now, but with this kind of setup, the only way he'd be able to go into another Examon is like Digivolving Groundramon and then using Ground and Slayer to be able to make it to Examon and then playing another Slayer perhaps. But that would be asking quite a lot, so he is just going to go Dracomon. I don't think he has all the pieces, and there is the second Slayer as well as an Examon, so he is going to grab the Examon, of course, as well as the Wingdramon here, bottom decking the rest, putting me to 2, and that is totally fine by me because we are able to go ahead and trash the Megadramon there, going on up to 3 with the Analog Man effect. And I've got the Metal Greymon underneath to be able to attack unsuspended. I've got Metal Tyranno to be able to trash the security card if I do delete a Digimon. And then I think we've also got Reboot Blocker from the Gigadramon plus Andromon. So double blocks, 1 block with the Chaos as well as a redirect with the Analog Man. But regardless in this matchup, you're not really worried about the aggro too much until your opponent has a really wide board like this. But the important thing is to be able to out their boards. Now, we have the absolute behemoth Chaosdramon X Antibody being able to Digivolve on top of him, and the way this card's effect works, it is all turns, it copies the effects of all Machinedramons, all Chaosdramon, so it does get that when Digivolving effect of Chaosdramon as well as the protection effect. So when Digivolving, we're going to go ahead and stick a couple of Cyborgs underneath, and then we're going to go ahead and devolve the Dracomon once again, swinging into the Slayerdramon to then be able to trash the security card off of the Metal Tyranno effect. And then now our opponent is once again in a really awkward position where he's got 3 rookies in play, a champion. We know he's got the Airdramon as well as Examon, but I don't know if he can go into another Examon. He would have to have another, like, one of the blue level 5s, or sorry, the green level 5s, because we know he has Wingdramon. So now we're going to go ahead and pass it over to our opponent, Digivolving the Andromon and back, just to set up something for the following turn, another Chaos play, even though I know he can't out this board, but now we're going to have double Chaos on the field next turn, so he really has to do something like crazy, right, because we've got an unoutable stack, so it can't be deleted by either battle or card effect, can't be bounced or bottom neck. Anytime it would be deleted, he does lose the trash, the top card of his security will be trashed, due to the Chaos X Antibody, and then at the start of my main phase, I will be able to just get a free Cyborg underneath, and then gaining a memory and drawing card off that Dorumon. So our opponent is going to go Cordramon in the back, and at this point, I knew, like, okay, I'm not being threatened by an Examon, I can clear his board. So we're going to go ahead, Analog Man, trash a Cyborg, and then stick that same Megadramon underneath it to then gain a memory, draw a card, going on up to 3, I believe. So then we can definitely swing into something like the Cordramon here, and then the Megadramon popping the Draco, and then trashing a security since we did delete a Digimon by battle. And we can go ahead and go Chaosdramon number 2 for 4, being able to then stick some more Cyborgs underneath. So just the Metal Greymon here to devolve the Cordramon by 1, but it can only be devolved by 1. Dorumon giving us that extra memory back is so huge, being able to go Chaos for 3. And now, funny enough, I think I could have gotten rid of the stack earlier, but the Dracomon doesn't actually have evade because it's not a Dramon, so the Wingdramon inherited didn't give it evade, so I can just go ahead swing into that with the second Chaosdramon and pop it. Hard playing a Sunoriza, to where if my opponent does play anything on the field, Sunoriza does get piercing to all my 13Ks or more, so I'll just be able to swing into something with Chaos X, trash security, pierce, and then swing with the other Chaos for game. And he's just going to Megadeth to avoid lethal. It is literally the only play he could have done. But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to avoid lethal because, as you guys will see in quite a bit, I think this card needs absolutely no introduction. So we're going to swing Chaosdramon, swing Chaos X into the last security, and of course you already know attack of the heavy mobile Digimon, hard playing the Machinedramon, sting material, blitzing, and rushing for game. So guys, that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments what you think of Machinedramon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.